What is going on? A little later than expected. Had to make sure I got some good tunes going. It was a bit awkward. As soon as I finished talking about my good background music, it just cut off. Threw me for a bit of a loop. Today we're starting the Possessed. Well, in fairness, they are already a bit along. You know, they're table adequate, right? But they're a far cry from where I'd like them to be. What's going on, Tramari, Gavin D? I see your messages. Pumped to hear the start of a new army, Gavin. Always a fun time. So we got 10 possessed in the crew here. I mean, sometimes I mix them up, but usually there are two squads. One a Zinch squad, one a Slanesh squad. Not that I'm entirely against the undivided thing. I kind of just like the conversion opportunities that the marks provide, such as a snake possessed with a fun demonette backpack. However, this model has a regular Chaos Space Marine head, which I dislike, and I happen to have a spare new possessed head here, which I would like to make a switch for. So before the painting begins, we're gonna start there. So I guess the stream will start by ruining this guy here. Unfortunately, it seems like I glued him on pretty good. So I hope the damage isn't bad from this choice. There we go. Success. I mean, it's a bit damaged, but definitely still usable, should I need to. At the very least, it could be a damaged helmet on someone's base. Yeah, I think this head is much more fitting for a possessed. Big fan of the forward curving horns as well. Now my knife is not in the best shape here, unfortunately. It should be adequate. Just gotta clean this this cool word bearers or big boy possessed helmet up a little bit. That should be it for the sprue points. I'm not gonna need this little bit here. Oh, a real word bearer in the chat. Yes, I am a fan of the word bearers. I think they are super cool and underloved, which sort of drew me to them. You know, demonic possession, ritual sacrifice. It's all kind of the fundamentals of chaos. And with so many fans, anyways, preferring to lean into the 30k themes of their Chaos Space Marine Legions, because, of course, the model range and lore is kind of better serving them there. Very few Chaos Space Marines really flex that demonic stuff. At least in my playgroup, anyways. Alpha Legion guy likes to play as Alpha Legion as if they're sometimes loyalists, sometimes heretics, you never know. Night Lord's guy likes to stick to the ADB renegade kind of flavor. Yep, you got it, Warp Bearer. Must have been my dyslexia. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Is this, too awkward? Let me trim this down a bit. Yeah, the word bearers are not only... You're correct. They're not... They are misunderstood, certainly. They are certainly misunderstood. They're important. They are... There's no 40K without the word bearers. Very important chapter. It seems GW often forgets that. Not chapter, Legion rather. Got a bit of relaxing PS2 playlist today. Links in chat. For those curious. Sorry, not links in chat. Links in the description. Bit of an autopilot, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just so focused on the task at hand. Alright. I think that's looking pretty good. So we'll do a bit of Tamiya. You know what? Maybe it's worth priming this first so I don't prime up everything else. Maybe we'll do that. Just gonna pin vise this and use it as a little handhold. Temporary handhold. Whoops. The plan is not going as I would like it to. I think my drill bit's losing its sharpness. Your guess is correct, Warp Bearer. It is an Age of Sigmar snake body kit from... Or sorry, it's an Age of Sigmar snake body from the Daughters of Cain kit. It's just just an awesome sculpt. Like the volume, the musculature. Looks pretty good. I feel like with this little conversion here, it's blending fairly well into the body, but I wonder if there should be some extra accessories or something around the hips, maybe to balance the composition a little bit. It is kind of top heavy. I don't know. Maybe you guys can weigh in. All right, so we'll chill on this for a bit, and get the primer out. I think I have some on my palette still. If it's good, we'll use it. If not, we'll have to get some more. Yeah, primer is pretty dead. Pretty dead on the old wet palette. Nothing fancy, just the Vallejo surface primers. What's going on, Victor? I I'm happy to hear that you guys feel I should do nothing, because that's less work. It is a choice I am down with. Okay. So we'll give this, will the autofocus be able to hone in on just ahead? Okay, we'll just give it a simple, oh Jesus, oh, this is deadly. This is a deadly idea. If this head falls off, it's gonna roll somewhere and never be found again. Oh jeez. This is riveting content, I'm sure. Very exciting. You take care, Tramari. I appreciate you checking in. What's going on, Donnie D? Alright, I'm going to leave this head aside to dry, and then I don't want to start painting it. The base colors could go on before I glue it in, but to be honest, I'm kind of... it's not the best handhold for that head. So once the primer dries, I'll glue it on. So across the 10 possessed we have here, we got 5 Slaanesh guys, 5 Tzeentch guys. The Tzeentch guys you might have seen in a thematic battle report, perhaps, against some Sisters of Battle. So they're a bit further along. You know, they got their glowing green stuff in place. The demonic flesh is looking better than the Slaanesh unit, but I'd still like to get them a bit more up to snuff. The possessed are kind of like the stars of my collection, really. In my mind, they're like the premier unit of the wordbearers. So I want to give them that little bit extra, you know. Paints for the word bearers are old Citadel Mechrite red, and I mix it with a bit of glazing medium to thin it down, partially because it's a bit old, and I just mix it with some game color black, and then that's kind of my range. For variants, I like to add a bit of Screamer Pink. No. Yeah, Screamer Pink, this color here. Very similar, but this adds a bit more of a purpley hue to some areas, which I like. Gran Turismo, killing it with the chill vibes. And for edge highlighting, I'll probably add a bit of off-white to the mix. For the guys who don't have trim will just get well, maybe a bit of off-white mixed with my metallic color, to be honest. So I'm thinking I want a bit of gradation on these guys in particular. These Galvorback base models, they're nice sculpts. Very nice sculpts, but they're not overloaded with details, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But it means you can't. Well, it means that I feel that the paint can do a bit more carrying than it would otherwise. Like if there was trim everywhere, I feel like you pay less attention to the armor panel's tone changes. So I hope you guys in chat are also getting your hobbing done. Feeding the camaraderie, spreading that hobby energy around. Your palette's looking a little dry. Painting some Night Lord heads, nice. From the Kill Team upgrade sprue. Oh, painting the Custodes, nice. Some of the golden boyos. Yeah, probably want a light to dark across here, and then actually that's an interesting dilemma. Generally I like to do lighter areas here, but I guess it's not the worst. It's not the worst to have dark to dark. I mean, there'll be an edge highlight there, so I'm thinking she'll be alright. Or he'll be alright. Got some Screamer pink going already. Don't need too much, but just a bit. I always imagine the word bearers are more of a red wine kind of color, as opposed to the world eaters like primary red. Maybe like a dried blood is a better analogy, a better reference point. Oh, you know what? These guys didn't get their seals, their soft seals done properly. I have a particular paint I like to use on the soft seals of the armor, like these joints, you know, that you often see on Space Marines, and it creates a glossy sort of finish, which I think creates a nice contrast point between the armor and trim. It's like just another way to differentiate the materiality a little bit more. But this guy doesn't seem to have it either. It's not crucial, but I care more on the Possess, obviously. Oh, hell yeah, Victor. Hell yes. World Eater's Horus Heresy scheme is... I don't think it's a hot take at all to say it's way better than their 40k scheme. I think most people would agree. Like, blood splatter, dirt, and gore just they pop on that Horus Heresy scheme. Oh, I'm happy to hear you think these guys look great. I just saw your comment now, Raised Hunter. What's a good reddish maroon color that is both bright but doesn't look red? You tried Galvorback red and it looked nice. But the moment you used shading, it made it look brown. Oh, that sucks. I'm using... Well, this is already getting a bit more purple than I would like. It's not the worst, because these guys are marked Slaanesh, but you want it to be a bit more in line than that. I mentioned what I'm using. If you're curious, I can go over it again, but my particular aesthetics might not be for everyone's word bearers, so I can appreciate, you know, I won't take it personally is what I'm saying. Off the top of my head, I don't know a maroon color. It's not a color I paint often, to be honest, right? It's really just these word bearers that get a kind of maroon or burgundy. You know what? I'm really regretting that I'll have to do this, but I'm gonna have to run and grab my my Inktense black color for these soft seals, because it's starting to bother me. The lack of shiny soft seals are bothering me. And it kind of helps me it's probably not the, well, you know what, it's certainly not the way you want to be painting models for efficiency. But I kind of like to build up, it's more fun this way, like building up all the different components together, and it gives you a good sense of the overall readability. Because if you're painting all your red armor, then maybe when you start doing your mutation color, you realize, oh, the red armor isn't how I'd like it, and then I find that, for me anyways, I still go back and forth. And I suppose you would just do that on one test model, but I feel like the assembly batch painting stuff isn't the best content, and it's not the most fun, so I feel like it's a win-win to do it this way. Oh, Sigvald Burgundy in the chat. Perfect. We got an answer. See, we solve problems on this stream. Alright. Again, I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to run and grab my Scale 75 color. Where's my BRB? There it is. BRB! What's up? I have returned. I can't believe I've done this to all of you. But I got the Scale 75 Inktense Black. Oh wait, my BRB's still up. How embarrassing. Alright, so let's put a bit down there, and you know, looking at the soft seals, it doesn't really have a full coat down already, so this will also make it have a better coverage on these parts. Less of that armor color showing through. I find I like to do these parts first because often, well, they're inner details, right? It's better to paint inside to outside, or else you're more prone to hit stuff. At least I am, anyways. Okay, do we have any other seals anywhere? I don't think so. Everything else is demonic looking. We have a little one here. Yeah, see, not the best coverage on its own, so that will necessitate a layer of game color black. What's up, Avery? What's going on? Thanks for stopping by. Let's try and use up this Inktense Black before it dries up, because it's not on the wet palette, and I don't like to put the Inktense on the wet palette because I find it messes with the consistency. So on our cool Generation 1 Kill Team guy, we'll just line up the soft seals with a single layer. It should be fine. Yeah, this guy turned out great. Really pleased with this guy. I feel you, Raised Hunter. I quite enjoyed playing, well, former Packbound Zealots, Slaves to Darkness during the Index. It's fine. Like, it's a fine Chaos Space Marines detachment. It's just, don't pretend it's word bearers, you know? Like, don't, not when Night Lords and Iron Warriors, and I guess to a lesser extent Iron Warriors and Black Legion, but the Alpha Legion and Night Lords in particular have quite a few stratagems and traits that, or enhancements rather, that are very clear translations of their previous chapter rules or Legion pack rules or whatever. Okay, he's got his soft seals. This guy with the bolt gun. The bolt gun and the monster hand. The Om Nom Nom hand. It's gonna take a bite out of someone. I never played what game is this? Shadow Hearts Covenant, but this is a good track. Gotta say. My bad. I realized that was mostly all out of frame and out of focus. Both cardinal sins. Okay, I think that's all the... Oh no, he has that same kind of backpack too. I think the Galva back are all in Mark IV? Mark IV armor, I think? Where's our Snake Man? It's got a little bit of soft seals. Barely any, though. I guess the helmet will. You know what? We'll hit that now, so I don't have to worry about it later. I think that's all that will be visible once it's in there. Oh yeah, Victor. Oh yeah, the glowing runes. I think... Call me crazy, but I think that's how word bearers ought to be. It's often how they're described and depicted in their heresy models, right? Even the flavor text for their even the word bearers' flavor text for their detachment, not their detachment, their legion trait rule in 9th edition. I'm not sure about 8th, but in 9th edition, it spoke of their glowing runes on their armor with unholy power or some, you know, some fluffy language. And it kind of makes them stand out as the first heretics, right? And it gives them that kind of edge that the Night Lord's lightning effects sort of have. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why I feel like glowing runes are the way. And if you go for a more primary red, or brighter red, like how GW often depicts them. Actually, GW depicts them fairly burgundy. I think they keep their coloration, the color IDs between them and the world leaders fairly distinct. We got our Hellblaster guy who wants to be a Hellblaster. And it seems like he just has the one soft seal. These guys are a bit too dark. I think a little bit of layering will go a long way. Yeah, this model here is a converted blade slave from 30k, which works well for a possessed. Turns out to be the right scale after the possessed got their well, after Greater Possessed came out. As soon as Greater Possessed came out, I was like, why would I go for these smaller, lesser possessed, right? At the time, when I think, what was that box? Shadow Spear? When that box came out, I was like, I think I'll just get some Galvor back and use them as Greater Possessed, because they happen to be the right size. And then it turns out that's what Possessed turned into. Crazy. Who would have thought? Not really any soft seals here. Or I guess a little bit on his ankles, but that's it. Alright, nearly done, and the Ink Tense is almost done too, which certainly feels good. Like I perfectly measured it. Like it was perfectly planned. Oh, and we have our Master of Possession. I haven't shown him today. Subtle conversions, but I really like what's there. He's got his little Slanesh trinket on his staff and a cool demonette head worked into the backpack. And I gave him a book too, but I'm not a huge fan of the book there. I don't know, maybe that should be removed. Maybe it could be a less is more, you know? A less is more type situation. Oh, and his horn. One of his horns is a converted Slanesh style, so he's got that uppy downy horn situation. Yeah, this guy has very few soft seals exposed as well. I guess one right here. That's it. Books are cool, eh, Donnie D? Okay. Then the book shall stay. Yeah, this guy's gotta be he needs some attention. He looks kind of basic. Good conversion, but I have a council of 4 leaders for the word bearers that all have these little nameplates, and he's supposed to be part of the 4, but his peers look much better than him. Alright, let's put this head on here. The recipe for the green fire. So funny about the green fire. I recently did this on a previous stream. I can't recall the name of it. That's the struggle. I think I did a better job on this guy, and I actually want to achieve that effect on the Master of Possession. Basically, we do a bit of painting. The recipe, to answer your question, is a bit of light green paint. You can use Gauss Blaster mixing in with white. It's like you're painting fire, but only using shades of green is the idea. So you have a dark green at the end. I think I used something like this, Black Forest Scale Color 75. You can use like a Dark Angels type green. Something fairly dark. And you need a pale green like Gauss Blaster. I'm pretty sure I used Toxic Mist in the video. And then you make your gradient for your fire from light to dark, like you would for a natural fire. But instead of yellows to reds to blacks, you're just using greens. And then I use a layer of Hexwraith Flame. This is old formula contrast, and I think it works better, honestly. I have a pot of the new one, and it doesn't behave the way I would like it, but if that's all that's available, that's all that's available. if you want to see this come together, it's on stream. That was my point in sharing that. It's last week sometime. I think on last week's stream. One of them I've been streaming, well, fairly often lately. It's a new thing for the channel. Now that I have a hobby set up that can permit streaming. So there's not a huge backlog to scan through, but I think that it's always better to look to the side, right? Not straight on. Is that a good pose? Maybe a bit more downturned. No, that's too awkward. Okay, we'll leave them. Hopefully that's enough glue. What's going on, Steel Foil Hat? Welcome to the Cool Guy Club. Good to see you. Good to see you. Nice to see familiar people in chat. Okay, so I think the soft seals are all done, so we can get back to our armor on this guy. So he's got a pretty nifty breastplate with some good segmentation, which will look good for our blends. That's for sure. So we probably want the light areas in the middle, and go dark to dark up here, and then we can have a stepped kind of thing. Probably should go a bit darker, honestly. That's like right in the pit. And the Galper back models are a bit different because there's such little trim that a very dark scheme could look really nice with some brighter edge highlighting, kind of like a Dark Angels effect, right? But then every other model in the army, more or less, has trim, which can't benefit from that sharp edge highlighting contrast in that same way. The Dark Angels aesthetic is very, it's like hyper, I don't know, I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. Like a dark, but deeply saturated green with a vibrant edge highlight. Obviously, like, not overly saturated, within reason, but it's just a nice bit of contrast. I did see, you know, it seems I spoke too soon yesterday. I was claiming that GW is just going to preview one detachment from the GSC preview, and then it seems like they previewed, not the entirety, but all the detachments in the Codex on the Warhammer community today. I didn't see, I didn't give it a, I gave it a glance, alright, I'll admit. I didn't read over every line in the article. Kind of skimmed the effects of the stratagems. Looked for the keywords of what units were affected. But I didn't see anything crazy. Let's try a bit of edge highlighting here and see how it looks with the off-white. Like what we get is a pink. Oh, it's a bit too sloppy with that application. It will require a bit of cleanup. Oh boy, but the edge highlighting really brings out the definition. Yeah, we got some nice stuff happening here and here. This a bit sloppy. Sloppy edge highlighting. Look. No journey is without peril, right? Now that I'm getting in here, I can see a bit more details that were a bit obscured when everything was just flatly painted. There appears to be a fang. And maybe even a series of small teeth. Oh, Raised Hunter, don't feel away or anything. Like, we can talk about, just, you know, chats, like, we're free to talk about whatever. It's, we can talk about Emperor's Children. Yeah, I think it's fun that the Emperor's Children will finally be on the same level as their peers. I don't love what it does to all the other Traitor Legions, but it is what it is, alright? It's the timeline we're in. We have Chaos Space Marines, and then you have these more special Chaos Space Marines, which, again, I don't love, but cannot be helped. Cannot be helped. Though, I swear, if Emperor's Children also get a possessed unit that's better than standard, i.e. Word Bearers possessed, I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna make a video. That's what I'm gonna do. God, freaking World Eaters and their 8-pound. I just cringe. It's so lame. So we're gonna put a bit of a Steel Legion drab in here. It's a bit more watery than I would like it, but I think it'll suffice for a base layer. So I'm just gonna go over it with some Army Painter Skeleton Bone after, and it should be adequate. Introducing the 6-pound? Get out of here! Ah, GW would. The 6-man. Oh, possessed by 6 demons at the same time. It's crazy. And yet somehow they look less possessed. It kills me. The 8-bound should have just been some dope-ass gladiator champions who were blessed by Korn for being good gladiators. It's literally all they had to be. Instead they forced in some, oh yeah, I'm possessed by 8 demons. Like, it's so stupid. I like the models. I think, you know, they're 8-bound are cool looking models. A bunch of super muscular. You can make them go shirtless, like a bunch of muscle bros. Like, it's fun. They're a fun looking model. But I don't like the lore at all. It'd be like if, I don't know, the World Eaters come out and they just have like this sick terror squad unit that happens to have jump packs. And they're just the most terrifying, the most horrific, fear-inducing, better than Raptor's Raptor unit. And then I imagine Night Lord's guys would be like, hey, what's this? I think this eye could benefit from a little bit of glow. So I'm just hitting that with Toxic Mist, and what I'm going to do is, using my edge highlighting color and maybe a bit of glazing medium, I'm just going to paint this whole area brighter. And what I'm hoping is when I hit the whole area with Hexwraith Flame, it creates a bit of a glow, sort of. Shoot. You've sort of nailed my preference there, Raised Hunter. I would much prefer the leaning into depravity. You want to have your rock and roll metal guys or whatever, right? You want that aesthetic for the Noise Marines, and then you could have some depraved duelist type if you want to roll with Lucius, I suppose, maybe. How is Lucius? I'm actually not the most up to date with him in his lore, but I imagine he would roll with other champions. Or was he more of a lone op kind of go on his own quest kind of guy? And what else would Emperor's Children have? Oh, they should have a Sonic Dreadnought. And then they would be... everyone would be jealous because everyone else has Hellbrutes. But they get the Sonic Dreadnought. Damn. I don't know. Like, everyone loves Dreadnoughts. I don't know why GW hasn't cashed in on that and brought back the Chaos Dreadnought. Oh, look at all the details popping on this armor. Like, I say that, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should check if we're in focus and in frame. Yeah, way better. Wish I could do it before and after. Got some rivets to hit. Nice. Yeah, that breastplate's looking way better. I wonder if I could do a bit of glowing detail in here. Then that would kind of really sell the idea this is a possession point, for lack of a better term. Seems on his knee pad we have a bit of a rune, I suppose, which could be picked out and... You know what, I think I'll just leave it. We'll use decals. It could be that these details are a little below average, because these are, you know, these aren't, well, let's just say I don't have a certificate of authenticity for these Galvor back. But you know what? The Forge World models sometimes are pretty mungled anyways. At least the vehicles. That seems to be fairly common. Any of the hard-surfaced tanks and such seem to be quite the problem, or labor, I should say. I think the dreadnoughts from Forge World are probably fine. It's those flat surface models. The ones that can't get away with not being machine perfect, because they would be in World. Okay, let's do this gorgeous... What? Yeah, my hand just forgot how to hand. Yeah, as I was saying, I want to work on this gorget next, and then we'll work over to the helmet. Definitely keep the brighter area towards the middle if you can. You know, the real question for the Emperor's Children will be if the 40k Fulgrim looks better than the 30k Fulgrim. Or is it going to be a situation where it's like, oh, these two models can both go on the same base, and you buy whichever you like. Plastic's generally better. Generally better to work in plastic. Can we hit his eye hole? That's the question. I feel like I'm just hitting his... Wonder if this brush is beginning to lose its accuracy. It looks alright. It's always hard to tell because your brush dies 1 HP at a time, right? So I think he's already looking better on camera, and he looks like at least 2 times better than what you guys are seeing. You'll have to take my word for it. Quite a lot of these metal cables, or I don't particularly like the look of them. I wonder I wonder if they're not supposed to be cables. Maybe they're supposed to be innards. Let's take a look on the interwebs. Okay, Gal, not Wonder Woman. Gal Vorback. There we go. Let's see. Let's see if the GW store fails me again. Okay. We got him. Can we rotate? Oh. Looks like we can. Oh, but you know what? Only... Oh my god. Oh no, they painted metal. Weird. Well, fair enough. They also painted all of this, demonic flash, all these panels, which I guess I'm going with a magenta kind of Slanesh look, so it's not the most distinct anyways compared to theirs. But I guess we'll just keep these cables metal. I don't particularly love how they look. Maybe it's because there's no wash. The Nuln oil does wonders for metallics, right? Alright, so I think our Toxic Mist should be dry enough for a bit of Hex Wraith. So we'll try that. Try out that bit of experimentation on this side. I think it'll do. Already liking how the green looks on that pinker area. And over here, might have to tighten that up a little bit. That's okay. It's okay. This is how we learn, right? This is how we get good. Can I work with this while it's drying, maybe? Looks like it. Alright, so from this angle, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. What is up, Cetra Echo? Thanks for tuning into the stream. We're just out here. We're out here chilling. Talking some Emperor's Children here and there. Doing some painting. Sharing that hobby camaraderie. We're all out here fighting the fight. Can we paint this notch? Oh god, it's overdone. It's ruined. What a Chungus edge highlight that was. My goodness. Indeed it is, Lordorite. Indeed it is. A Galver back with a bit of Demonette champion claws. Well, the Allurus, I think, as they're called. The Demonettes with the bigger claws. The leaders don't. It's the same weapon as regular Demonette claws, but they're way huger and they look cool. And because this is a Slaanesh squad, I kind of enjoy the demonic kit bashes or conversions. Let's see if I can clean this up a bit. This actually, that area should be much darker. That area should be much darker. Because it's dying into the knee, which is brighter. And I think you want that separation. I want to highlight that difference. Reinforce the modeling with our painting. Ooh, that's a bit too bright. On camera, it looks all right. Need to get more Mechrite red. Any idea on how to convert accursed cultists? That is a worthwhile endeavor for the persons who wish to run multiple, because they look very monopose. They're very Screamer Killer-esque if you have multiple squads, so I appreciate the quest. As for how to do it, probably using demonic bits or even tyrannid bits you could probably get away with. And just grafting them on. Using a bit of green stuff to fill in the gaps after the fact. That's probably the route I would go. I wonder if there's any good 30, not 30k, but Age of Sigmar mutant cultist type guys. The new Brood Brothers kit. Yeah, maybe. Do you have any idea on how to... sorry, I read that already. In person's all that matters, unless you're a painter channel, then you're screwed. Yeah, Pyro is hitting what I'm laying down as well. I think you just want to green stuff, graft the parts onto the mutations a little bit. I mean, maybe you could use, I don't know, Genestealer cults have a... I don't know, would an Abominant look... I don't think that's the right kind of energy. It's almost like you'd want an Abominant coming out of a Neophyte or something. borked it. I totally borked it, man. Seaman Monkey Dog. I am working on a Possessed here. Sort of kit bashed and converted out of a Galivor back. Oh, right on, raised Hunter. I mean, it sucks that, yeah, Bile's attachment isn't there. Because, you know, Vastor came out, so now he gets an attachment. Bile lost his slot. But so did Wordbearers, so I have no sympathy for you. Hey, right on, Waffles. We're out here crushing this hobby, you know? Getting her done. This guy's got like a real box butt. It's pretty funny. It's a great model, especially from this view. It's amazing. But the box butt's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to me. Like, why would you model it this way? Unless, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how it comes. I don't think I did that. Look, Raised Hunter, I kid. Obviously, I have sympathy for people losing their detachments. I'm just making jokes. I think you got the right attitude, though. Yeah, make a detachment for the armies the rules which ought to have them. And if your playgroup's cool enough, and the rules are tasteful, you should be able to use it. It's like, yeah, you can't take it to a tournament or anything, but I don't think that's the kind of place you want to be using homebrew anyways. It's for a different sort of experience, right? So we want to create a fade of this lighter, might be too light, burgundy or reddish color to I guess this is more burgundy down here by the knee. To answer your question, Pyro, pretty sure the Galvorback does not come with options. They're fairly kit bashable. In the beginning of the stream, I kind of showed off all the models I have off camera. And you can use that accursed cultist method to graft arms on, and because they're demonic mutants, right? It's imperfection's okay. But there aren't any. I don't believe there are extra options. I realized I missed a bit of a soft seals here, which is the big sad, because now it looks like I've wasted my ink tints. And do you need both eyes to paint? I mean, you only need one, really. Like, I don't think you need depth perception for painting, right? Well, you're allowed to not like things. I think the Galverback are pretty neat. The one you're referring to is definitely the coolest in the squad. I turned him into a possessed Chaos Lord, who was also in my thematic battle report. The rest of them are a bit more hideous and monstrous. They're not overly cool. But at the time, the Galverback were everything a 40k possessed would like want to grow up into. If that makes sense. They were so derpy. Charming, but, you know, in that way of old funny models. And the Galverback were just like, oh, chef's kiss, you know? But GW's new possessed they are quite nice. I don't think they're bad. I think they're probably they're probably better looking than Galverback. But Galverback are great if you want to have different sculpts for your possessed. Okay, so I think the leg's looking good. One leg is edge highlighted. The other one needs edge highlighting on the lower, on the shin and foot. So we'll start up that. Damn, what is this music? Dragon Quarter? Oh, Breath of Fire. Okay. Pretty chill. Oh, hell yes, Seaman Monkey Dog. Argyltal would absolutely make an awesome Word Bearer's Jump Pack Lord. Now, it'd be great if a Word Bearer's detachment existed and you could make him possessed, right? Like the old rules were able to provide for you, but if you're in a group that only plays matched play only, that's a cool choice. Very thematic for your Jump Pack Lord. He's got wings, and he's very good looking. Yeah, the Pyro, that's exactly the model you're thinking of. That is Argyltal, a much beloved Word Bearer's character from the Horus Heresy. One of the first possessed. Right, this guy's got some nice layers, looking pretty interesting. I can't get over his box butt, man. It's like you got a high resolution model, and then it's like, oh, here you go, PlayStation 1. There it is. My God, why would you do it? You know, with the benefit of hindsight, I kind of wish I converted something or like gave him a book. I don't know. Put a book on his butt. Would that be better? Maybe just graft like a tail. Try and break up that flat polygonal look. Got a few more armor pieces to do, but I think the lower half of the armor is done by the looks of it. Got a bit of metal trim to clean up and horn details, or bone details, but those are different materials, so they can chill. Alright, let's carry on. You might be right, sellers. You might be right. Yes, raised hunter. 8B, 8 bound, I presume. The lore is dumb. Join me in the hatred of 8 bound. There are dozens of us. Dozens! Ooh, that's a bit too pink. Need to mix some colors around here. Okay, so if that's the brightest color, we're gonna get back to our base near the edges. Kind of want to highlight these cracked panels, these fissures. Try and enhance them a little bit. The lore for the 8 bound, I could be mistaken, okay? I could be mistaken, and, you know, I'm happy to get corrected, but I believe they're just possessed by 8 demons, and I think the Exalted 8 bound has, like, gained dominance over them, or whatever. I think that's how it goes. If only one sticks around, okay, look, that's certainly more tasteful, and there's less for me to hate. But I'm still not gonna love the idea that the world eaters have better possessed than the word bearers. It's so rude to me. It's the meme from the video that I made about the topic from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where it's like, I thought swords were your thing. Or whatever. Yeah, that's how it goes. It's like, Peter Quill's like, I thought swords were your thing. Because Gamora's using a gun. Which he thought was his thing. Which is obviously like a childish thing, and that's part of the humor. But also part of the humor is in the truth of it, right? There's a truth to that comedy. And it's like, yeah. Should I be waiting for a Wordbearer's exclusive arena champion gladiator? Like, is that the world we're living in now? So it's still lame to me, but yeah, if you're possessed only by 1 and you're the survivor, you survived a possession of 8 demons, but you only are possessed by 1, I guess it's a bit more tasteful. I mean, world eaters are very popular, right? It's not like I don't like them. There is a purity to just wanting to kill, maim, burn, or whatever their credo is. I need to get a bit more McRae red. It's really it's an old paint. Yeah, Emperor's Children, as Pyrus pointing out, will be mid-ranged shooting in that they operate in the same space as Death Guard and Thousand Suns. But like World Eaters and like World Eaters and Death Guard, Emperor's Children will want to be in combat more than Thousand Suns. I think you can look at their rules in 9th edition, and you'll have a good picture of what it's about. You know, I would like the idea of them copy-pasting, you know, just aping the Age of Sigmar Slaanesh rules. The depravity system is pretty cool as a framework or a rules paradigm to work with them. It's unique. Offers a unique experience for the player and the opponent, which are always my favorite kinds of rules. Oh, this is a good track. Killer 7, there we go. Okay, I think that shoulder pads are looking better. Maybe this backside could use some definition a little bit. And we have an armor plate here. A bit of armor here. Okay. Look, we're nearly done the armor. A backpack after this. Yeah, the points, Hunter and Pyro, like the points you're laying out, sound appropriately correct. It sounds in line with Slaanesh demons, right? That kind of influence is there. What is that? Feels like something broke. That sucks. That sucks if so. Like a fag or something? Or a horde? Yes, Donnie D. You're a man of culture, I see. I thought this would add a lot of, yeah, I think that piece that broke off was from this. I think there was something jutting out of here before. Well, what can you do? It's my cheap Chinese knockoffs. I see there's 8 concurrent viewers. And only 8 likes. It's probably something I hate doing it, but it's probably something I should be more adamant about. If you can, if you are so gracious as to like the stream, I am led to believe that makes a difference. So please do. Much appreciated, fellas. Much appreciated. Seems like the YouTube Studio works in real time, which is great. What a bummer that spike broke off, eh? I didn't drop it here, did I? No, it's gone. Gone forever. Lost to the abyss. Gotta clean up these edges a little bit. Some of them are kind of clumsy. I think that the trick is, like, can you clean up your edge highlighting without just erasing it? This one I actually want to erase, because I actually just want to have edge highlights on the edges which would catch light coming from the top. So I don't want an edge here, but I want one on the bottom. You'd actually want to put a dark edge. We might as well edge highlight his face. Or, like, rather his helmet. Yeah, I figure we'd get for the Emperor's Children the World Eater's treatment. Small release with room for a phase 2 the following edition. Primarch Lucius, an elite big bad unit, and I'd hope for a Sonic Dreadnought. You know, this elbow pad here is not the right color. It's a bit too pink. We need to make that a bit more subtle. Not quite the color I want. What up, Donzilla? What is going on? Continuing on the Sisters of Battle? here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a dark edge everywhere except for this corner. I think that'll look interesting, and then I kind of just want to put a light layer. I wonder if we can get away with just that. It's really a game of what can you get away with. Oh, sounds good, Donzilla. Sounds good. I'm pretty sure this right here is a big old mold line, or a mold slip. But I feel like for the Galvar back, or for the Possessed, you can get away with that kind of deformations. Which speaks to the point I was making earlier. Like, that's something I feel I can get away with. I wonder if anyone in chat or people in your relevant playgroups, how many of them are excited for Genestealer cults? Or is everyone more so intrigued by Sisters of Battle, like what they're going to bring to the table? Because I feel like in my playgroup it's pretty moot, or not moot, but pretty quiet on the GSC. Yep, I can empathize with that feeling. There are things I like better about 10th, but over time a lot has been lost. A lot of that flavor and options. It really feels like there should be 2 games. One with all the options, with the rules bloat, so to speak, that competitive players bemoan. Like the ability to field chapter masters. That certainly is a loss that saps the enthusiasm from playing my Firekeepers. Yeah, there should be 2 games. One called Warhammer 40k 10th Edition, and the other called Combat Patrol, which is a tight tournament game system. That's my spicy take. And you want your tournament games to be fast anyways. Fast turnover, takes up less space, balanced, or certainly easier to balance when you have a fixed roster. And you can keep making more. Like, there could be 5, or how many detachments are there for Space Marines? 8? There could be 8 combat patrols, or tournament patrols, whatever you'd want to call this, for Space Marines. Different styles of, you know, combat for different chapters. It'd just be a tighter, more balanced, tournament-friendly system. I wonder how many more games you'd be able to get at combat patrol size in an average venue for tournaments. Nice progress there, Donnie D. You have a good night. Thanks for stopping by in the stream and sharing that hobby camaraderie. Much appreciated. Good hustle. We could look at Donnie D out there, painting his Nightlord helmet batwings. Need a bit more off-white. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, that sucks. That sucks, Pyro. What you're talking about for Ryza-style AdMech. An aggressive Forge world. And what was Ryze's other quality? Plasma? Were they the plasma guys, or were they? I think so. Definitely a bummer. Yep, just out here, edge highlighted. Living the dream. Not sure what the best way to do these holes would be. And then these two cracks. I wholly agree, Raised Hunter. Not a fan of the blessings of corn. Blood Tithe is picture perfect. Chef's kiss, World Eaters, right? Rewards for claiming skulls or spilling blood. However you want to frame it. Blessings of corn is like, it's so generic, right? Like you could it's the blessings of Nurgle, blessings of Tzeentch. It feels very uninspired. The perks you get are good. Like it's a functional tool set. It's just compared to the Blood Tithe, it's there's also another problem with Blessings of Corn. It's like you've built Angron's value into the army rules, so now you have to use him. Like, you must. And I think it just makes Angron like a terrible, like it makes it a terribly difficult thing to balance. Like getting Angron back at full wounds just by luck. It happened in my gaming group not too long ago. Angron was, after much struggle, Angron was put down in like round 3 or round 2 of the shooting phase. already in the enemy's deployment zone. And came back turn 3. How neat is that? This is those situations where it's like feels bad for one player, feels real good for another player, and you just have to kind of shrug and be like, yeah, that's the rules the game GW has facilitated. I just it's weird. I just feel like if you're in the rules team, right, and they tell you this, like, oh, Angron has to come back, and then now it's your job to make it work. I feel like that's such a arduous task. Like, surely it's easier to manage the World Eater's rule set if Angron isn't just coming back. Do a little bit of cleanup here. For the most part, I think it's fine. Alright, I think all the armor panels are done. Oh no, there's that one phalange. His phalange out here. I was like, what kind of music is this? It sounds suspicious. Like Sudoku. Sudoku game, okay. Well, that's a good question, Pyro. How is Crusade in 10th edition? My playgroup does not do Crusade. They are much more a matched play group. Not that they're against narrative. I ran a narrative event for my playgroup earlier in this year, and it was quite enjoyed. But the enthusiasm for Crusade isn't there in my playgroup. So I couldn't tell you. You know what? I bet Crusade is where you can make your chapter master. That's probably where that is. If it's not, then like, what is Crusade even for? Oh yeah, okay. We're nearly there. Got a little scars to highlight. I think. Raised Hunter. Is the Maggotkin of Nurgle's rules the plague tokens where you suffer mortal wounds? Like you accumulate these plague tokens and then you suffer damage, or is it just slain models? I think that was a thing, right? I quite like that direction for Nurgle. Accumulating these tokens that represent death, which you know is coming for you, is like a thematically strong way to abstract the dread which Nurgle would bring when fighting them. I feel like it's much better than the, oh, you are in my plague aura. Now your toughness is -1. It's not as interesting to me. Where is my Steel Legion? There it is. We're gonna paint some horns and parchments and such. And I need some Steel Legion for that. Steel Legion and Skeleton Bone from Army Painter. Well, I see your reply. I'm going to give it a thorough read. It'll get my undivided attention, because that is something I'm interested in. Yeah, I can't help but feel Age of Sigmar is more creative with their rules. I don't know if it's just perception of grass being greener. I feel like it's not, though. I feel like just that Nurgle example we were discussing a minute ago. That's just, like, undeniable. Very important book. Essential reading for the word bearers. Okay, let's see here. Yes, because a enemy unit gets up to 7 disease points and rolls a d6 for each, and a 4+ is a mortal wound. Also, they actually have durability in that game. Yeah, that's a good thing for Nurgle, certainly. You want them to be a bit hardy, which Death Guard sorta aren't. Maybe you'll get you'd hope, a detachment that does that. Yeah, Raised Hunter. Thanks for sharing that. It's, yeah, that already sounds more interesting to me. Love that idea that you could use your blight launchers and, you know, to lob out some of these tokens to enemy targets, and they feel the damage is inevitable, you know? The fear, the despair that Nurgle should make the player feel. Like a good Nurgle rule set would cause the enemy to feel despair. You know, in 8th edition, I did have that very experience with playing against Death Guard, where they could spawn Poxwalkers from cultists, which died nearby. And it created this situation where it's like, oh my god, for every one I kill, another one rises, right? This kind of cinematic mechanic, right? It was... fuck, it's the coolest, man. That's so cool. And it definitely did make me feel the despair. And it's not like I wasn't killing anything. Like, I was taking away those cultist units, but... You know, spending the CP, or how... I think that was the mechanic. Spending CP, you would recoup that loss. Nurgle needs to do more of that. It should be dreadful to fight them. I think like a hard-to-shift unit, lobbing a few blight launchers or Plague Burst Crawler bombardments to spread these tokens out is pretty nifty, and I think stratagems like Plague Bolt Rounds and Plague Spewer type weapons, just hosing choice targets with these tokens, that's really fun. It's almost like Nurgle shouldn't have had lethal hits. They should have had something, you know, something to proc off of, like, devastating wounds, but all plague weapons would have it. Call it plague, toxic wounds or something, to just easily drop in this kind of mechanic where you need it on different units. Don't know how visible. Oh, that's fairly visible on camera. Damn, Donzilla, it sounds almost like a warp storm. Orange lightning? I'm glad to hear you made it okay. I don't particularly feel like freehanding anything on this parchment other than maybe like squiggles. It's just in such an awkward place. And it's kind of an awkward shape. Kind of. It's got this weird bend in it, too. Nope, a little bit more. There's actually more on his face as well. God, how many mutations does he have? Okay, let's do a bit of edge highlighting. I'm mixing some off-white with that skeleton bone, which should give a nice papery, well, a little more off than our normal off-white. I just kind of want to do like a semi-broken edge highlighting on these book pages. Maybe that will result in a more tattered sort of aesthetic. Alright, is that it for his paper details? All the papery elements done? Just layer a bit more of this like almost bleached bone color. Kind of want to have that ivory sort of look. That certainly makes them pop. Yeah, on the topic of Death Guard being slow, I had a thought, sort of, like this topic came up in my local playgroup because my buddy Melon was on a Votan kick for a little while, and he had a similar, well, it's a similar situation with them because they are so slow, and you know the idea is they're tankier, but not nearly as to the level they were in 9th edition. And I got to thinking, like, movement is so like premium. It's so impactful to have mobility in 40k because you move 5 times, right? Most units move 5 times in the whole game, and then so the more you move on those 5 times, like it's almost like it carries further. And like the adage, you know, I'm sure you guys are aware, like, you know, movement is where you win the game and all this. So like obviously movement's the tits. And so like I wonder, does the game need to change to facilitate these slower armies, right? Because like the answer isn't to make every army fast. I mean, you could open up movement in other phases maybe, and then maybe slower armies can make use of it, but then that's kind of what the fight phase was doing, and that's all been reined in and made less abusable to a... I think that's safe to say. It is less abusable than it was in 9th edition. 9th edition can really abuse the fight and charge phase to get a lot of movement. Painting bone details this whole time, and I neglected his chest piece. The one front and center. This is true, Pyro. This is true. The missions would if the mission parameters did not demand movement the way they do now, that would shore up the value, or would reduce that from being such a lack. Which, as of right now, I think is, as far as official rules go, it's basically just narrative play. Well, I think This guy is fairly denso, right? The blends on this mutation look good. The claw's fine. You know, I guess it could use a bit of edge highlighting, some subtle layers. This hand I'm fairly pleased with. What color to use? Okay, we have some forest skin from Vallejo. This might be a good color to edge highlight this Demonette Claw. Or just layering on some Militarum contrast here, just to glaze up the saturation, or increase the saturation towards the tips with the glaze. Using the contrast for glazing is kind of my preferred use for them. They are great tinting agents. Now, while it's wet, it looks real good. We'll see how it looks once it's dry. I'm mixing some forest green with, or sorry, I'm mixing that forest skin with the Militarum contrast. Just to kind of tint it a little bit more in that direction. So I'm kind of nervous because, like, where's the edges aren't super well defined. Okay. Go for like a stippled edge, I think. Well, hopefully that increases the readability. I think that was a good color choice. Okay, nice. This guy is... oh my god. Look at this. Look at this bone detail I missed. Of course. Just when I was about to say we're donezo. I was looking forward to popping out a few decals, and maybe we can just, you know, basing aside, we'll leave the bases for the end for the whole lot of Possessed, but I'm gonna wrap up this guy completely with decals and everything. That would be stellar. It sounds like a achievable goal. It sounds within reach. As for the written text, the squiggles on the parchment, I'm not so sure. Let's see if this works. If it just turns into kind of, it's probably adequate. These are the thinnest strips of seals I've ever seen. Okay, I'll just make more squiggles. Maybe an abstract shape towards the bottom. And we'll just do some more. It's like underneath. You'll never see it. You'll never see it, but now we know. Now we know he's got something. Something's on there. Alright, from the front, the lines look alright. Not bad. Okay, let's look at some decaling. Let's look at some decaling here. Don't think there's any space for a word bearer's shoulder pad. So we got, oh, this comes up on camera. Yeah, you can barely see it. Very hard to read. White decals on this light blue. You got really tiny lettering, and the ones I've been using on standard legionaries, and then large symbols, which honestly are, they don't look the greatest on infantry. So we'll cut a row. Will this half row? It's a little bit less than half, but will it be enough? Probably should cut them first. It's kind of a pain either way. At least this way, when they separate from their backing, they're ready to go on. Okay, let's just slide that a bit more central. And bring them all together. You know, Pyro, on that point, how certain factions are better at open battlefields or ambushes. It almost makes me wonder, like, perhaps being in the role of attacker and defender should be different. Like, it could matter in a team tournament type of format. There's definitely pros and cons to making it matter overall, because if you're just randomly determining, like if you only play a faction that is good at defending, and then you're just randomly the attacker half the time. That does feel bad. So I think there's feel bads either way. That idea might only be valid for a team tournament, or in a team tournament setting rather. Alright, so we got a little decal there, a little sigil. We got a second one here. So where do we want them? Probably there might be a good spot for one. Come on, get off my brush. Just want to place it so it's not awkwardly too close to an edge. This one is fairly small as well, so maybe... Well, honestly, here isn't bad. Maybe another one on the outside here that can be larger. What is this? A hard to identify squiggle. You know what? This is there's a lot of negative space on here. I should have trimmed it. I should have trimmed it. That may have been an edge. That might have been on the edge of the line. Never heard of this game before, but pretty good vibe. This one has a bit of excess also. Riveting stuff on the stream, I'm sure. It's the application of decals. I do promise it does look good once it's done. this one has a bit of excess also. Definitely gonna have to put a rune on his flat box ass. It needs protection. Got one there and probably one here. Just off to the side. We should have one more, right? Alright, is that it? No! I'd like actually 1, 2, maybe 3 more. 3 more would be great. Oh, come on. We'll give that a minute to separate. Yeah, so from this side, he's gonna have a whole bunch of glowing areas, including the modeled ones. We could have maybe 1, 2, and then maybe 3. That's probably a good. Yeah, that was all off camera. Awesome, awesome job. Yeah, I'm thinking 1 on this panel here, 1 on this area, and then 1 here. You know what I just noticed? This is this right here is a bony growth, which was missed. Classic. That should be enough time for those decals. Okay, square one probably could go here, or but that might be a nice shape, following the point of that bone detail. Is that coming across on camera? Yeah, like this. That's probably a neat spot for it. Before I put on the Hexawraith Flame, I'm going to give all of them a layer of micro sol, just to really melt that decal in place. Help flatten it out a little bit. It's not necessary, but I think it's useful. Okay, this L-shaped one maybe goes here. And this 3 or E or M, I don't know what this is. just want to nudge this a little. Is that location all right? Maybe this direction is better. All right. So Microsol, the decal softener. And we're basically just gonna give each one a little dab. Each one a dab. Any of which were missed? I hope not. No, I know it sounds crazy, but I think he could use a few more decals. I think this panel could probably use one. And if they're small enough, you could have 1 and 2. This shoulder pad is huge. Maybe just 1. Either here or... This side doesn't need more, but... Yeah, probably there. So we'll grab 2 more. We got one of these W's. It's fairly large. And while those separate, I realize I did not do any scribbly lines on our book up top. So hopefully this is a good consistency. It's the thing about text squiggles. You're just looking for the right amount of paint on your brush. Yeah, kind of like this. Oh man, those lines are super strong. Kind of bad, honestly. Thanks for tuning in, Pyro. Thanks for tuning in. Just saw your messages. Buddy. I appreciate you checking in with the stream, and I hope you're able to use some of that hobby camaraderie to help get your projects done. These other lines are kind of bad. I wonder if I can soften them maybe with a bit of Steel Legion glazed in, maybe with some, just dab. I guess that will suffice. That's probably good enough. I also kind of realized the other hand did not get any edge highlighting, so we'll just quickly add some additional definition to this weird geometry. I suppose the only material that has not gotten any treatment is the pistol, the weapon casing. I think these should be ready. Perfect. So I'll put that large one here. Look at that. Oh yeah, it's 10:30. Well, we're nearly done. Oh my god, what happened to my decal here? No! What a bummer. That's a piss off. Jeez. It looks so good too. Sometimes if it slips off, it can get stuck somewhere else on the model. Doesn't appear to be the case, though. Jeez, that's so lame. Okay, which one was it? You're going back on. All right. Oh, more people joined in chat? When I last looked, I thought we were petering out. Thought we were petering out. Well, welcome to a very riveting painting stream. I reckon this guy is looking pretty handsome. What can I work with on my palette here? We got some gray, some blue. Maybe I can make... I'm just waiting for the microsol to set. Or microsol to dry, I guess. Before I do the hex wraith. So I figure I can do a little edge highlighting, mixing some gray and some blue on this growth up here. Might help with its readability. The Toxic Mist from Army Painter just cakes up, like, so fast. Even with the wet palette. Trying to resurrect it with some glazing medium here. I thought maybe I could hit these eyes a little bit more, make them pop. Just mixing in some off-white with the Toxic Mist. This one will be easier to do. Let's make sure this is on. Yeah, it looks stuck on there. Okay, we're ready for some Hex Wraith. Hex Wraith is the key for those glowing runes. This is a lot on my brush, but we got a lot to do, so it's okay. Actually, that amount's fine. I thought it was going to be a bit more potent. That one's a bit too much for that decal. Hopefully, I can come back to it before it begins to dry too much. Okay, let's try and pull some of that. Maybe a touch more. And you can see they're already drying. And they kind of just do the blending for us. It's pretty cool. Oh, there's one up here. Any others which were missed? I don't think so. Can reinforce some of our modeled details a little bit, but I don't think too much is required, honestly. Yeah, I think he turned out pretty good, right? Maybe I should start grabbing some before and after caps from these streams. Could be interesting. I mean, there are some blemishes on the metal areas. The cables aren't great, but I think we can get away with it with some nice tonal variety achieved on the model itself here. The only areas I'm not super happy with, and it's something that won't take too much time to address, is the pistol. It could just benefit first from some layers. Not even a ton. Just enough to bring it to parity with the other materials or the other colors nearby. Such a small kind of bolt pistol. But then again, this guy's a possessed, so he's freaking huge, so that's a giant pistol. Yeah, that looks much better. You can grab a bit more off-white off my palette, mix it in with the dark sea gray, and we could just define these edges a little bit. Oh, I kind of bungled that edge. I mean, it'll still read as a layer, so it's not the worst. Right now, that warped geometry kind of reads a bit better. Maybe clean this up a little bit. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Time flies when we're having fun. We gotta wrap this stream up. Okay. So, obviously, the honors to close up the stream goes to, not our Snake Man, because all I did was do a head swap. I think he's gonna look great once he gets the same kind of attention this first Galvorback got. But this guy has shaped up rather well. One of my least favorite Galvorback has turned into a really good looking one, so I can imagine how the others will fare. Anyhow, anyways, if you, yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in and who liked and commented and, you know, shared what they're working on, shared that hobby camaraderie. That's why it's a big part of the reason behind doing these streams, because I'd be hobbying anyways, might as well share and build that hobby camaraderie with all of you. And as always, to the 8 concurrent viewers at the end of the stream, you guys are the real heroes. And with that, we'll wrap up the stream. I'll probably take tomorrow off from streaming, but probably back on Friday. Maybe we'll tackle that snake, that snaky Possessed. Later.